I thought it would be neat with the beginning of this year to start keeping track of what meals that we make and share them with you. So every couple of weeks we are going to put up a new video of the meals that I've been making for the previous couple weeks. So make sure that you're following along. If there's certain recipes that you want, let me know and I will remake it and make sure that we have the recipe that we can put on the blog for you. If you're just meeting me, my name is Amy Cross and this is the Cross Legacy, where I teach you how to save money on groceries. I use a grocery budget of $135 per person, and currently there's just the two of us home, so we're using a grocery budget of $270 per month, and we have food security in our home with a stocked pantry and a stocked freezer. It is this budget that I'm using to make these meals. I haven't been to the grocery store when I was making the first 2 weeks of these meals for over 5 weeks. So one of the things when I'm buying produce, I'm kind of planning out when the next time I go to the grocery store is. Normally that's once every 3 weeks. Over Christmas, I pushed it out to 5 weeks because we were traveling over the holidays. But I made sure that I bought some things that would last a lot longer. And normally with my 3 to 4 week shopping trip, we have zero produce waste in our house. So if you'd like to see what that video looks like after not going to the grocery store for 5 weeks, we have that video here on YouTube and we will link it in the description. I started a new grocery planner for this season, and I started with the Rustic Produce Basket one, which we just got more of these in stock, but you can make your grocery list on any planner that you want to. This just really helps divide it up to things that you already have in stock at your house and what needs to be used up. We did a whole video on how I use this meal planner, and we will link that in the description if you would like to see more on how I check the things that I have and need to use up in the house. We are just going to go straight into the meals that I've made the last couple weeks. Starting off the new year, the first recipe that I had made was actually shrimp and brown rice. Shrimp was something that got kind of hidden in our freezer over the summertime, and I realized I had 3 bags in there that I need to use up. So we had that for dinner on the first night. And then the second night I made Korean beef rice bowls. And so I did that, well, the rice in it was actually cauliflower rice. And I did this as a meal prep and did some for lunches so we could have them throughout the month. So I ended up making a portion of about 6 different meals out of the one night of making dinner. The next night was Friday night. Oftentimes we will have homemade pizza. I keep a bin in our freezer that has all the pizza ingredients that we need together, and I normally make homemade crust. When I made this pizza, I actually forgot to take a finished picture of it, but I ended up rolling it up like cinnamon rolls and cutting them and made pizza rolls out of the pizza, and then I brushed it with a garlic butter sauce, and it was so delicious. I'm trying to encourage myself to try new recipes, and I made a pot roast out of Anna's cookbook, the 𝐂𝐻𝐿𝐒 cookbook. I was on her podcast and she sent me this cookbook, and I was really excited to try this pot roast recipe, which she used a new spice to me, which was 5-spice powder. So I had never actually tried this before, and I was excited to buy something new. But when we run out of this, I have learned that it's just 5 spices that I normally have, and now that I know what this tastes like, I can make my own blend with it. So it's a good way to know what it tastes like for a first time, but going on, I probably wouldn't buy this blend again. And over the weekend is just construction city here, so we ended up having leftovers. We had some pizza rolls, we had some pot roast leftovers. It was just leftover day because there was dust everywhere. Mike was sanding the hallway and all of the trim. So on Monday is a filming day for us, and I tried to make a really easy meal afterwards if we're not making a recipe video that day because I am tired. It's a really long day. And I had noticed when I was cleaning out the fridge, I actually had 2 jars of Caesar salad dressing in the refrigerator that I had bought over the holidays. And so I've been trying to use up one of those jars that was opened. So we had Caesar salad for that, and the lettuce at that point was about 5 weeks old. In our freezer, we had salmon for dinner, and with this I made a teriyaki honey orange glaze on top of it, and Mike would actually eat it because he doesn't really like fish that much, and he liked the salmon that night. And for dinner on this night, Mike was actually cooking, and he made Sloppy Joe meatballs that had a really great sauce that had tons of peppers in it. And we were able to not only have the Sloppy Joe meatballs on hoagies that night, but we were able to put some of that in the freezer, and we had it another night on spaghetti squash. Now I know this one doesn't have the greatest picture. Again, I was just taking a picture right before we were about to eat. It wasn't meant to be a vlog friendly picture, but this one was of pesto chicken and we had pears with it. The pesto sauce was a jar that I found in my pantry that I had forgot I had bought. So it was a great way to use that up and get it cycled through my pantry. I made baked potato soup. One, I didn't want any sausage and I had bought the kale before the holidays to make zuppa toscana. So I decided that I wanted to make baked potato soup instead. So when I'm using the kale in this, it was still in my refrigerator and it was about 5 weeks old at this point. I had ribs in the freezer that were left over from last summer, so I wanted to make sure that I was using those up. And since I normally do my ribs in an Instapot and then just broil them in the oven, it was perfect to do no matter what the weather was because it's normally raining here. But I have that recipe on the blog. We'll make sure that we link that in the description so you can do ribs in an Instapot all year long. And if you happen to watch the pantry video when I was going through the inventory in there, I was talking about needing to use up the baked beans that I have on the top shelf in there. We had the baked beans with the ribs and those had to cook on the stove for about an extra hour before they were ready. It was a good slow Sunday to have those ribs and barbecue beans. Those baked beans actually had to cook on the stove for over an hour, so it was a perfect Sunday lazy meal having ribs and baked barbecue beans. That was actually Saturday and not Sunday. On Saturday we had leftover ribs and whatever else things that we needed to eat up in the refrigerator because again, Mike was sanding trim. This gets us all the way to January 13th, which was my first grocery shopping day of 2025. And I did a grocery haul video for this. So if you're interested in watching videos like this, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and the notifications so you can get notified whenever we have a new video that comes out. So on shopping day, we did use the last of the lettuce that we had left over for Caesar salads. It seems like that's been our go-to lately, and we've been using chicken strips with the Caesar salad. I love that you can either have it as a salad or we could wrap it up as a tortilla. You can either have chicken Caesar salad or you can have chicken Caesar salad wraps. So whatever you're feeling in the mood for. So this was my grocery shopping day. I wanted to make sure that I had something that was super easy to make after grocery shopping so I could spend that half an hour washing produce when I got home instead of worrying about a hard meal to make. We still had a little bit of lettuce left in the refrigerator and I wanted to use that up. Remember, that was from the beginning of December, so we're at the middle of January by the time we're using the last of the lettuce up. And so we had chicken Caesar salads, chicken Caesar salad wraps. So whatever way we wanted to go with that, we have been just getting the bag of chicken strips from Costco and it's really handy to make a quick meal. And the last one I'm going to do for this video is the bagel sandwiches that we had. I have reflective sympathetic dystrophy, and so some days I can have great days and other days I can crash. And so I tried to keep some meals that are pretty easy if I'm having a rough day, and this was one of them. I love that we always have some type of bread in the freezer that we can pull out and use for different kinds of meals. We had bagels in the freezer that needed to be used up, and we just had ham and eggs with it. That's what we had the first 2 weeks of 2025, and if you like more videos like this, encourage us in the comments and we will be posting more this year.